This is an iHeart podcast.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card.
Apply for Apple Card today and start earning up to 3% daily cash back on everyday purchases.
And that daily cash can even grow automatically when you open a high-yield savings account through Apple Card.
What are you waiting for? Visit apple.co/card calculator today to see how much daily cash you can earn.
Subject to credit approval, savings available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings in Apple Card by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Looking to save even more money on your phone bill? How does free sound? Helium Mobile is offering the first free phone plan. That's right, free phone service. Seriously, no bill, no contract, just free.
It's not just some limited time deal. You get nationwide 5G coverage with 3 gigabytes of data, 300 texts, and 100 minutes of calls. If you need more data, you can upgrade to their other plans. Plus, you're supporting a community-built network that's growing every day to keep you seamlessly connected wherever you go.
When we first heard about Helium Mobile, we couldn't wait to share it with all our Frugal listeners who are looking to budget smarter when it comes to everyday necessities without sacrificing quality.
So if you're in the market to cut that monthly phone bill, like really cut it, Helium Mobile is where it's at. Download the Helium Mobile app today and use the code FRUGAL to get your free plan today.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
In a world of economic uncertainty and workplace transformation, learn to lead by example from visionary C-suite executives like Shannon Schuyler of PwC and Will Pearson of iHeartMedia.
The good teacher explains, the great teacher inspires.
Don't always leave your team to do the work. That's been the most important part of how to lead by example.
Listen to Leading by Example, Executives Making an Impact on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
How to save money on meat at the grocery store with Jenny Mitich.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And today we are focusing specifically on meat, which tends to be the most expensive part of your grocery bill. And we're not just saying buy a whole cow or get a deep freezer. Actually, those are none of our recommendations. We're giving recommendations for normal people who have normal freezers.
This is also a little funny coming on the tails of our last episode, which was going plant-based on a budget. And so we just want to remind you that we're here to bring you the radical middle. We are not doing either one of these kind of diets on either extreme of the spectrum, but it is worth understanding what are the different ways that we could save money. We know that a lot of people have different dietary restrictions, so we're trying to kind of cover all of our bases here, but specifically in this episode, talking with somebody who eats primarily meat, and so she knows a lot about how to save money on meat. So yeah, if you're here with us, want to know how to save on protein, you're in the right place.
But first, this episode is brought to you by Summertime. That's all I can sing of that copyright. But it is brought to you by summer. We are on the heels. Memorial Day's over, and we are here for summer. And we want you to have the healthiest summer you can. So that's why June's challenge in the monthly money challenge membership is the Healthy Summer Challenge. It is a bingo style challenge, so it's got different different tasks for you to do that will help you stay healthy on a budget, because I think that is everybody's biggest question to us when it comes to groceries is, I want to save money on groceries, but I don't want to sacrifice being healthy. So we've got this episode, last week's episode, or our last episode, and this challenge coming for you. And we want to give you 50% off of June's Healthy Summer Challenge. Head to frugalfriendspodcast.com/challenge, and at checkout, enter the code SUMMER, SUMMER, and that'll get you 50% off of your first challenge in the membership, and have a healthy summer on a budget.
I'm still making the summer challenge actually as we speak. So now I know what you hope will be in it. Yep. It'll be bingo style. Okay.
I already put it in the Asana task, Jill. I said this would be a great idea, and you didn't say no. And so I just assumed that you didn't disagree with me and you thought it would be a great idea. I haven't made it that far, too.
But here we go. It'll be a bingo style. All right. Jen said it. I'll do it. Here we go.
I love our relationship. So if you're looking for more ways to save money on groceries, we have a lot of episodes on it. We have been doing this year specific categories in groceries. So today we've got meat. Last episode we had plant-based. We have had takeout. We have had an update on our overall groceries. Upcoming, we will have organic food. So if you have a specific request for a groceries episode, let us know. If you're on the Friendletter, just respond to the Friendletter, and we will definitely take that into consideration when we are adding episodes throughout the year. But I think our ultimate guide to frugal grocery shopping, what we just did, episode 499, and then episode 433, tips for grocery shopping on a budget. And you'll notice at the very beginning of the episode, I didn't say the episode number. I've heard you. And I've heard those aren't helpful. And so we've taken them away.
No more episode numbers.
No more episode numbers.
Only we will know how many episodes we've released in our lifetime.
We'll keep track of them for you. And all you do is you search the title, and it should come up for you in your podcast player. I think Spotify is a little better on the search front than Apple Podcasts. But you let us know the easiest way you have found to find our episodes. And that is what we will start recommending.
Yeah. I mean, there's also always show notes.
There is always, yes, we will have these episodes linked in this episode's show notes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's always an option.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get into it. Talk with Jenny, who is the owner on Instagram at Mama Mitich. She's on YouTube. She's talking all about her meat eating lifestyle, and she's given us tips on how to save.
Yeah, and we'll preface this with Jenny does talk about the carnivore diet. She does practice that diet. We are not nutrition influencers or podcasters, so we don't promote any particular type of lifestyle or diet, but we thought we saw her videos on YouTube about buying meat on a budget and thought they were really good. And who better to tell us how to save money on meat than somebody who's buying meat very frequently. And does not have a big house or a deep freezer or enough space to raise their own cows for slaughter. So Jenny was a wealth of information that's very accessible. We just wanted you to know that we're not promoting any particular type of diet. We're just really looking for the people who know the most about saving in the places they're experts on.
Mm-hmm. We love interviewing experts on their particular area as it relates to money saving. Mm-hmm. So let's do it. Let's talk to Jenny.
Jenny, welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast. We're so excited to have you and talk about this topic that we haven't gone in depth on before.
So you know a ton about purchasing meat, and we want to hear all of your expertise on this. So just to kick it off, for the people who don't have a deep freezer, because I think that's like a main way that a lot of people say how to save on meat, But if you don't have a deep freezer, what would you say is the best way to be able to save money on your protein when shopping?
Yeah. So everyone has a regular freezer. So I think kind of just clearing that out and having space for the meat in the first place. I feel like when I go into my freezer, now it's very organized, but before I just had a bunch of like half-eaten bags of vegetables and like just random things in there. So I think the first step is just cleaning it out, making the space. And then after that, you just have to kind of search out the deals and make sure have and then make sure you have a vacuum sealer so that you're keeping the meat fresh for a long period of time. But yeah, I think that's probably a good place to start. And then you need to figure out what are your favorite cuts of meat, because I know when I'm searching at the grocery store, there's a lot of things that are on sale, but I'm like, am I going to eat that? Am I just buying that because it's on sale? So I always kind of just go with my staples, and that's what I put into the freezer.
What stores have you found can offer the best prices on the meat that we're buying?
Well, I'm in the Chicagoland area, so we have Jewel Osco's, and they have incredible meat deals. Incredible. Every week there's one cut that is just deeply discounted. Sometimes it's like a pork shoulder I got for 99 cents a pound. Just recently for Easter, they had the rib roasts, $5.99 a pound, which is insane. You can just cut those into ribeye steaks. You don't have to do the whole, prime rib or anything like that. So that's kind of where I go for my best meat deals.
Nice. And for anybody that doesn't have one of those, are there any like kind of nationwide stores that you might push people to?
Sure. I mean, Aldi is great. I typically don't do a lot of meat from Walmart. I think they're overpriced, surprisingly.
Interesting.
Yeah, very much so. You would think it wouldn't be, right? But Walmart, overpriced. Target, overpriced. I really like local international grocery stores. In my area, I'm in the Chicagoland suburbs, so we have a lot of different grocery stores to go to. And there's one grocery store in particular I go to. It's local. There's like probably two of them in my area, but it got a huge produce section, but also an amazing meat section. And they have some banging prices on meat that are like always good. Always good, even with the inflation and all the price increases with all that stuff, they've remained a really good option. So I think for anybody in whatever area they're in, you need to figure out and scout out all of the possible stores around you, not just the stores you would normally go to, get out of your comfort zone. Go check out these other little places and see what's available, because you might find a couple of awesome deals. I mean, I'm shopping at like 5 or 6 different grocery stores. Maybe once a month I do a big shop and I'm getting all of the meat that I need for the month or most of it. And I get this here, I get this here, I get this here. And that's kind of how I'm able to save a lot of money.
Yeah, that's such a good point to not just assume. I think we would assume Walmart's going to have cheap prices and the local store's going to hike them up, but it depends. Product to product, you might find that your meat is going to be far more affordable. And I can anecdotally corroborate that. There is a local grocer kind of near us, like 35 minutes away, and they have phenomenal meat prices. So yeah, just getting out and shopping around, it could be worth it, especially if you can stock up, if you have cleaned out even just your regular freezer and not your deep freezer.
Yeah, and even if you're not going to do 5 to 6 stores a month, like just getting out and knowing what's out there so you can be sure, like, hey, I had never even heard of this local international grocer, and their prices were lower than where I'm normally going. So maybe it's not the lowest every single week, but you can be confident that, maybe 3 out of 5 weeks, it's going to be the lowest.
And that helps
such
support
a great tip.
Buying local, which is one of the things we tell our people to do all the time.
What about Costco? Do you find Costco has deals?
I love Costco. I'm obsessed. I have a Costco that's very close to my house, and that is where I get my whole ribeyes. So if you go to Costco, you can buy a whole ribeye. It's like anywhere between 18 to 22 pounds, and I just cut it myself. And then I cut off the extra beef fat and I save that so I can render my own tallow for cooking. So that's really nice. But typically the whole ribeye is $2 to $4 cheaper per pound than the pre-cut ribeye. It's the exact same thing. But if you just do a little bit of the cutting, you save money. That varies across the United States. You can also get at Costco Business Center. Have you ever been to one of those?
I have not, but I have heard rumors of it. Please tell me about it.
They're amazing. They're amazing. So any Costco member can go to a Costco Business Center. You do not need to have a special membership. So just go. Use your normal Costco card. You go in there and their meat section is just like, oh my God, amazing. They have so many different cuts of meat. They had like beef tongue. They had huge boxes of chicken thighs, bone in, skin on, drummies for much, much cheaper than you're going to get it anywhere else. Their whole ribeyes, I think, were like $1 cheaper than your normal Costco because they're more for like food service, right? But you can access it. You can get a whole goat. You can get a whole pig. It's insane. Whoa. I love the Costco Business Center. It's about like 45 minutes from my house, so I don't go very often, but it's good to know that it's there.
That if you're near one of those, then it might be worth getting a deep freezer.
Yeah. Or just going regularly if you're that close.
Yeah.
Just on the weekends.
Yeah.
Hanging out at the Costco Business Center.
So let's talk more about like cuts and animals. What are our most affordable options?
Sure. I mean, I think most affordable is going to be chicken and pork. Those are my go-tos if I'm needing to save some money. Drumsticks and it's usually just drumsticks I can find for 99 cents a pound typically. Costco Business Center, 79 cents a pound. Wow. That's incredible. There's just an amazing amount of nutrition in a chicken wing or a drummy, and you can cover a lot of your caloric needs with that. I think for pork chops, pork shoulder, pork tenderloin, any kind of pork you can find for pretty cheap. And if I'm finding it on sale, I am buying a bunch of it and freezing it. But I think like bang for your buck, beef is probably the best meat that you can get just nutrition wise. It's a ruminant animal. The meat is just so packed full of vitamins and minerals and a lot of caloric density. So if you're trying to save money, eating more meat in the form of beef can be very helpful because, you're taking care of a lot of your nutrition needs in just one meal. So whenever I find beef, like ground beef on sale, typically right now in my area, it's like, I don't know, $4 to $8 a pound, depending on what you're getting. But if I can find that for really cheap, like Jewel had these pub burgers that was like 2 pounds worth of pub burgers, but they were selling that package for $4. Whoa. That's $2 a pound. So, I mean, don't use them for burgers. If you just need to use the ground beef, whatever. I bought a ton of those, so scoop up the deals where you can find it. But yeah, chicken, pork, cheapest. Beef, though, I think is probably the best bang for your buck when you can find a good deal.
Yeah, I have so much to learn about the different cuts of meat. I can get into these ruts of, this is just what I know, so I'm just buying some chicken. And then I look at all of the different types of beef and I'm like, the prices feel wildly different and I don't know what to do with them, like how to prepare them. So I just often will stick to what I know. And I'm like, someday I want to be a grown-up and understand what all of these different cuts mean. But so hearing what you're saying about beef and how this actually could be, quality over quantity for us. And we see that, some beef is really inexpensive price per pound, and then some are up to, $15 per pound. How do we make sense of those different types of cuts? Should we just, it's beef, get whatever's cheapest and figure it out later? Or like, what should we be considering? This message is brought to you by Apple Card.
Whoa, I just found out you can earn up to 3% daily cash back on everyday purchases made with Apple Card.
Yeah, you can earn unlimited daily cash back with Apple Card on every purchase. No matter where you check out with Apple Pay, you always get daily cash.
The possibilities are endless.
What's better is that daily cash can automatically grow when you open a high-yield savings account through Apple Card.
That's like endless. +1.
Visit apple.co/card calculator today. and discover just how much daily cash you can earn.
Subject to credit approval, savings available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings in Apple Card by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
Are there any pictures of you online? I'm not just talking about Google. I'm talking anywhere.
Clearview scrapes together images from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Venmo accounts.
That database is now being used by police departments all across the country to match criminal suspect photos. And sometimes it makes mistakes.
So in this one case, 2 of the search results that I think were in the top 10 of the search results were Michael Jordan, just a picture of Michael Jordan.
But cops are still using it to make arrests.
Police, they are trusting this software to lead them to the right suspect. But you're not even being told that it was used, let alone given any of the details about how it works.
This is not Minority Report. This is happening right now. People are getting arrested and doing actual time in jail after being picked out by a computer. I'm Dexter Thomas, host of Kill Switch, where every Wednesday we explain the right now of living in the future. You can turn off the computer, but do not let the computer turn you off. Listen to Kill Switch in the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, with beef, there's select, choice, and prime. Prime is going to be your most expensive. Select is going to be your least expensive. I usually go for the middle ground. Choice, it's good, pretty tender for the most part. Your different cuts of beef are going to be, prepared in different ways. The cuts that need to be cooked for longer, that are tougher, like your chuck roast, things like that. Those, are going to be probably cheaper per pound. Then you get all the way up to like a ribeye steak or something. Those can go for a lot, I'm in Florida right now and they have Publix as their local grocery store. And man, did they overcharge for steaks here.
Yeah, Publix is expensive.
I have not been buying ribeyes down here. It's like $19 a pound. I'm like, why? Why is it so expensive? So that kind of runs the gamut there. I think as far as like cost-effective cuts of beef, the chuck eye steak has a similar fat profile and tenderness to the ribeye, but it's drastically cheaper. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I can find one of those for maybe $4 or $5 a pound. And then the ribeye, $13 to $20 a pound. So that's a really good cost-effective way to eat more steak and have the, good fat to protein ratios, but save some money. I also really like skirt steak. I like the untrimmed skirt steak. It has a lot of fat on it when it's untrimmed. And then I either cook that on a grill, garlic powder, salt on both sides, and then just grill it to maybe like medium rare, because that one, if you cook it too much, it can get tough. But if you cook it just right, it's really juicy and delicious. Do it on a grill, or I do it in my air fryer. Surprisingly, I cook a lot of steaks and beef in my air fryer. So that's always a good way to do it too.
Yeah. I did just go out on a limb and got a chuck roast because I'm like, this is so inexpensive. I'll figure it out later. It was so good. In my mind, I'm thinking roast like what my grandmother used to make, and it was always so tough, and the gravy was lumpy. And she was a good cook at one point in her life, but the roasts I was accustomed to were just not the greatest. And so I've never really done a roast because I thought I don't like them. But this was so good and so inexpensive. And so on the flip side of that, you kind of mentioned this already with the different, I did not know that between the Select, Choice, and Prime.
I didn't either.
That's a fun
Choice
takeaway.
is what I will go with now.
Are there any cuts of meat that aren't worth the extra price? Like you could go with something less expensive, just like, yeah, if you see that this is a lot of money, it's not actually worth it if you're on a tight budget.
Yeah. That's a really good question. I think one of the most trendy meats out there is the tomahawk steak. You know, the big ribeye with the big bone.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really cool. It's not, it's just a ribeye steak with a long bone on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And you get charged so much more. Just buy a normal ribeye if you're going to do that. It's not worth it. That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That is a good point. I always wondered what sets a tomahawk apart other than it just looking like you can hold it with a big stick. Yeah.
It's very Instagrammable.
Yeah.
Very much so. It looks great on camera, but you don't need to spend an extra $20 a pound for it, you know?
Oh my gosh. Is that extra $20 basically just paying for bone? Because that's what's considered in the weight, right? That's what I always think with bone-in stuff.
Yeah, I think so. Because, I mean, weight-wise, the tomahawk steak normally is going to be more meat on it, you know? Like, they're going to be a larger steak just to compensate. You can't have a tiny little piece of ribeye and then a huge bone. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a little bit bigger. But just price per pound, it's normally just so much more than just a normal, even bone-in ribeye. I just avoid those unless I'm doing like a special cookout with a party and I want to, you know, be bougie or something, but that's not really happening nowadays.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have two questions. I want to know kind of how you like to cook your meats, like really either like simple recipes or just like how are you cooking your meats? That's my first question.
Sure. So for those in your audience that don't know, I follow a carnivore diet. I'm a carnivore educator on YouTube. And so I only eat meat and animal products. And one of the best things about this lifestyle is that you don't have to think too much about your food. I don't have a lot of fancy side dishes or like extra stuff I have to buy. So for me, I keep it simple. I have twin toddlers that are 3.5. And they are wonderful, but also very active and always trying to like kill themselves. You know, they're like trying to break everything all the time. So
I know that life.
You know it.
I think I live with one of those.
Yeah. So I just want to keep it as simple as possible. So when it comes to my meat, I do ribeye steaks. I'll do sirloin. Once in a blue moon, I'll do filet, but typically it's ribeye because I do that whole ribeye from Costco to save money. And we just cut that up, freeze it, put it away, and I'll eat steak maybe once or twice a week. I will take it out of the freezer, thaw it, and then I do garlic powder and salt on both sides. And we either grill it to medium rare or I do it in my air fryer. And I use a tasty air fryer. It has a built-in temperature probe. So I just stick that in the meat, put it into the air fryer, and then I cook it to like 118 degrees internal temperature, Fahrenheit, because it cooks for a few minutes longer once you pull it out. So it'll get to about 125, a really good medium rare. Great, good to go. I cook it at like 420 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 to 14 minutes for the ribeye. Chicken wings, super simple. I love chicken wings. I'm slightly obsessed. I kind of like black out when I'm eating them. And my husband's like, wait, can I have some? And I'm like, no, I'm going to eat them all. But chicken wings are super simple too. We do those in the air fryer, 420 degrees Fahrenheit for about 18 to 20 minutes. And with those, I do a little bit of avocado oil on the wings. And then I'll do garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, and salt. That's kind of like my chicken blend. And just, you know, get it all over all the chicken wings, put them in, wing tips to the inside. And then I cook like 8 to 10 of them at a time for that period of time. That's a really good way to do it. Yeah, I have some complicated recipes. I have a cookbook. Well, it's a in-depth guide to the carnivore diet and a cookbook in one that's coming out in September. So there's some more fancy recipes in there for people that need a little bit more, diversity in their meals. For me, I could eat steak, chicken wings, bacon, and eggs every single day for the rest of my life. And I would be like, I'm good. I'm a very boring eater.
Yeah.
How do you cook your bacon? Are you like baking it, or because that's always been troublesome for me, because I will do a whole package in the oven, but it's hard for me to get it to the crisp that I like.
Yeah. It depends on what you're looking for. So for me, I want that kind of crispiness that melts in your mouth. I love that. That's my favorite type of bacon. So I do it in the oven, a whole pound on a rack. So elevate it off the bottom, put them all out. And I do it at like 400 to 405 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 30 minutes. I check on it right when I get down to that wire and kind of just see if it's crispy enough. That's how I'm cooking bacon. I cook that almost every day.
Does that ruin your oven, like with all the grease?
Yeah, it's bad.
So you also have to clean your oven.
That's one of my things too. Yeah, I usually make it on the stove, but then it's like, all right, it's a bacon day, and I just have grease all over the floors.
I would rather do it in the oven to contain the grease than to have it all over the place.
You pick your poison.
I would rather clean the oven as a contained space.
Yeah.
It feels like a job. It's like you got to put it on the calendar. Like that's the day you cook bacon and you hate your life, but you love the food.
It tastes so good though. But when we have a very small house, so I just smell like meat all the time. I kind of hate it. But when we get a bigger house, hopefully someday, I want to get a griddle to put outside on the back porch or something. That's how a lot of people cook a lot of their bacon and stuff. Then you're not dealing with that on the inside. But until then, I'm going to be doing it in the oven because I get it. It's just the most crispy consistency.
I do have an induction burner, and I'm going to do that because I've actually done this when I've cooked crab legs before. Take it outside on the induction burner in a big pot so that my house doesn't smell like fish. I've never thought about it with bacon though.
There you go.
That's a big unlock for me. Wow.
I love it. Okay, and so my second question is, how do you repurpose leftovers and like minimize waste?
Sure. So I guess it depends on your relationship with leftovers. Some people just can't do it, and some people are totally into it. So for me, breakfast meats, honestly, there's not really anything left over. Between my boys and myself, we eat all of it. Every day. But if I'm doing like a breakfast casserole, I'll set some aside. So I chop up breakfast sausage, bacon, any kind of meats I have left over. Chicken, like if we had some chicken drummies left, any steak, ground beef, chorizo, anything I have left over, I'll just throw that all into a casserole pan and whip up like 8 to 12 eggs, maybe with a little dairy if you're including dairy, throw that in and then cover it in cheese, bake it for like 25, 30 minutes and you have a breakfast casserole. So that's a really good way to reuse your meat. Because my husband and I are only eating meat, the leftovers that we have are pretty typically like half a steak or like some chicken wings, and we just eat it the next day. Following the lifestyle that I do, we don't have a ton of food waste. That's another way we're saving money because we're just eating everything that we cook. So that's been really, really helpful with our grocery bill because we used to, when we were eating salads and all that stuff, it would just go bad in the fridge because we couldn't eat the lettuce quick enough or the other vegetables and fruits that we were eating. So that's been really helpful, money wise with that. But yeah, leftovers just depends on how you feel about it.
You mentioned repurposing some of the fats and making your own tallow. Do you also do anything fun with the bones?
Yeah, there's so much you can do. You can use every piece of the animal.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so you can do you can do a bone broth with, any kind of bone, really. I typically use beef. Throw some bones in a big crock pot, cover it with some filtered water, add a little bit of salt and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Be sure to add maybe like a teaspoon because that can kind of unlock the nutrients from the bone. And then just let it cook for like 24 hours on low. I tend to skim some of the fat off the top just because it's just too much for me. to then consume. But that's a really good way to do just bone broth as a drink on its own, or if you're making a base for a soup. Bone marrow. Bone marrow is amazing. And it's so, so good for you. So anytime I can, we're roasting some bone marrow. I've done it in the air fryer. I do it in the oven. And you typically at your local grocery store, if you can get bones there, they can cut them canoe cut style. So they're flat and long instead of, vertical. That's easier to access the marrow in that form. That local international grocery store I was talking about, they will canoe cut bone marrow for me. So that's kind of another thing that I figured out. But yeah, there's lots of uses for the bones.
When you make your bone broth, will you mix animals? Like, you said you primarily use beef bone, but could you do like beef, chicken, turkey bone?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want.
I like that. That works for me.
Yeah. I mean, if you're buying like a whole chicken and you have the carcass left over, you can make a really delicious chicken soup out of that. Just like a rotisserie chicken from Costco. It's $5. Eat what you're going to eat. Put the carcass into a crock pot with some water, salt, cook that down, and then you can add more chicken, like if you ate the whole thing, or you can just leave what's on the bone. We do that with our Thanksgiving turkey,
I did that for the first time last year.
Nice.
It's so good. Throw it in a giant stock pot, let it cook down, gets all the little bits off, and then you just throw in whatever you're going to. If you're including plants, carrots, potatoes, whatever you're going to do. For us, we just eat it like that, and it's so good. And just that would have gone in the garbage,
Right.
But there's still so many nutrients left.
Do you know what's not going in the garbage and is actually super nutrient dense, power packed,
so dense? Every single episode.
The bill of the week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the bill of the week.
Jenny, every week we invite our guests and our listeners to tell us what their bill for the week is. And we look forward to hearing yours.
Well, I had a few thoughts, but one of the things that my husband and I have done recently is go through our credit card bill and eliminate all of these stupid subscriptions that we had that we didn't even realize we still had. I had one for some ketones. He had 2 credit checking subscriptions. So we each made our own list. And we've been checking them off. So we've saved hundreds of dollars eliminating those bills.
That is so good. That's the thing that we tell people to start when they're trying to lower the expenses. Do not start with the first thing that comes to your head. That's the last thing that you eliminate. The first thing you eliminate is those 2 credit checking services you didn't realize and don't know why you're paying for.
Yeah, this is one of our money moves that we talked about recently. And it's amazing. Not just, cancel subscriptions you don't utilize. I think when we talked about this as a money move recently, it was something like at least $33 a month the average American is spending on unused subscriptions. So that's just a good bill and a good tip, Jenny, to go through your credit card bill. Make sure that you don't have any unused subscriptions. And if you do, cancel them. If you all are listening and you have a bill that you want to submit to us, if it is about bills you forgot you were paying for and you don't want to be paying for them anymore, or a bill you don't mind paying for, your name is Bill.
You think you have the most bizarre unused bill?
Ooh.
I want to hear the most bizarre.
Or the most bizarre used bill, or your name is Bill and you're bizarre. frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill. We can't wait for it. Looking to save even more money on your phone bill? How does free sound? Helium Mobile is offering the first free phone plan. That's right, free phone service. Seriously, no bill, no contract, just free.
It's not just some limited time deal. You get nationwide 5G coverage with 3 gigabytes of data, 300 texts, and 100 minutes of calls. If you need more data, you can upgrade to their other plans.
Plus, you're supporting a community-built network that's growing every day to keep you seamlessly connected wherever you go.
When we first heard about Helium Mobile, we couldn't wait to share it with all our Frugal listeners who are looking to budget smarter when it comes to everyday necessities without sacrificing quality.
So if you're in the market to cut that monthly phone bill, like really cut it, Helium Mobile is where it's at. Download the Helium Mobile app today and use the code FRUGAL to get your free plan today.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
Are there any pictures of you online? I'm not just talking about Google. I'm talking anywhere.
Clearview scrapes together images from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Venmo accounts.
That database is now being used by police departments all across the country to match criminal suspect photos, and sometimes it makes mistakes.
So in this one case, 2 of their search results that I think were in the top 10 of the search results were Michael Jordan, just a picture of Michael Jordan.
But cops are still using it to make arrests.
Police, they are trusting this software to lead them to the right suspect. But you're not even being told that it was used, let alone given any of the details about how it works.
This is not Minority Report. This is happening right now. People are getting arrested and doing actual time in jail after being picked out by a computer. I'm Dexter Thomas, host of Kill Switch, where every Wednesday we explain the right now of living in the future. You can turn off the computer, but do not let the computer turn you off. Listen to Kill Switch in the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, we want to tell you about our podcast.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a particle physicist, and I think our universe is absolutely extraordinary.
Hello, I'm Kelly Wienersmith. I study parasites along with nature's other creepy crawlies, and there's just endless things about this universe that I find fascinating.
All right, well, basically, we're both nerds. We love learning about this extraordinary universe, and we love sharing what we've learned. So that's what we're going to do.
And on our podcast, Daniel and Kelly's Extraordinary Universe is all about the mind-blowing discoveries we've made about this crazy, beautiful cosmos.
From the tiniest particles to the biggest blue whales.
Each Tuesday and Thursday, we take an hour-long dive into some science topic, during which time I try to suppress my biologist training and keep the poop jokes to a minimum.
Learn all about our amazing and beautiful universe on Daniel and Kelly's Extraordinary Universe every Tuesday and Thursday on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And now it's time for the lightning round. Pew, pew.
Okay, so for our lightning round, either this we could do this 2 ways. What's your go-to cut of meat and how do you cook it? Or like, what is your like favorite cut of meat and how do you cook it?
Okay.
Jenny?
Ribeye. Ribeye steak is king. If I could eat it every day, I would. And garlic powder, salt, cook it for 12 to 14 minutes to medium rare.
What is that? So my husband's favorite steak is New York strip. How does that compare to ribeye? I don't know.
Yeah, just a different fat profile. So on carnivore, we're aiming for high fat, moderate protein. So just the amount of fat and protein on a ribeye is like 70% fat to 30% protein, which is like the ideal fat to protein ratio. So for me, I've always loved the fat. I was one of those kids that like, if my mom cut fat off of her steak, I was like, oh, give it to me. I was a weirdo. So that's kind of why I go for the ribeye.
And so what would the profile of the New York strip be?
So the New York strip would just be a little bit more protein and a little bit less fat, but still a really good ratio.
Okay. Yeah. I am the person that cuts off the fat and throws it away. And that's how I feel.
I have learned that the fat is good for you, and I love it, so I'm leaning in. I know. All right.
I am trying to lean more into healthy fats, but they are my least favorite foods across the board. I have found now that I'm looking into the macronutrients of different foods, I can really don't judge me. I'm so nervous to say this. I'm kind of take it or leave it on cheese, on things.
Okay, you're safe. Thank
you. I'm take it or leave it on the avocado on toast.
Okay.
And then the fat on meat.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So, but I am more cognizant of that. And
what are you eating? You just eliminated
coffee,
avocado, bread, fat, cheese.
I am exclusively living on caffeine. I told Jill this before we started recording.
Not even good caffeine either.
I woke up at 3 a.m., not because I'm an Instagram influencer, but because my 2-year-old decided that was when he was ready to get up. Mm-hmm. So I think I exist exclusively on caffeine. I'm on the caffeine diet.
Yeah. I am a steak girly. I do love it. It is my favorite. I probably could eat steak every day. I feel like I'm at a point where that's not quite affordable for me, but my favorite way is to prepare it with just a ton of salt. I don't even do the pepper, honestly. I just put salt all over that bad boy and cook it in some really good butter in a cast iron skillet.
Yeah.
That's my fave.
I know that it's not meat, but Jenny, tell us what's the best butter that you can get at Costco or any other regular grocery store?
Yeah, just go for grass-fed butter of any kind. Kerrygold, the Kirkland brand is really, really good. That's what I use. It's $10 for a 4-pack of the big bricks, and it's delicious. Salted. I always use salted.
Nice.
Yeah. What are we out here doing with unsalted butter?
Usually for baking.
My own hot take.
It's usually for baking.
And why?
I don't know, because it's what the recipe says, Jill.
Why? And then they're like, so then you don't have to add salt.
Don't question the recipe makers.
Yeah, no.
Just follow them blindly.
I don't. And I buy salted. I use salted. No complaints over here.
Okay.
Your turn, Jen.
Okay, I was a vegetarian for 10 years, and I started eating meat again when I was pregnant with my first son, and I craved a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. So that meat has always held a special place in my heart.
Chick-fil-A chicken
the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. I don't know if it's my favorite cut of meat. It might be it's not my go-to because I can't afford to eat that all the time.
Can you call it a cut of meat? Can you call anything from a fast food restaurant a cut of meat?
I'm sorry, a Chick-fil-A is a Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
It's a cut of chicken. I would say I do enjoy the New York strip when I get it right. It took me a while to figure it out after not cooking any meats. But when I say I was a vegetarian, I really mean I was a pescatarian because I would eat sushi throughout the 10 years. That was my one exception, is that I would eat sushi. Do you eat any seafood or shellfish, Jenny?
Yeah, I do. I do tuna sashimi. And then there's this amazing sushi salad at my local sushi place that's a bunch of cut up pieces of fish with some spicy mayo. And they usually put tempura flakes in it, but we get those out. And then I do a lot of sardine fasting. So I just eat sardines for a specific period of time. So that's typically the seafood. And crab and lobster and all that stuff. But that's kind of expensive right now. So none of that.
None of that. If you were going to eat it and you wanted to get the best price, what would you do? If you were going to maybe splurge on it. For any seafood. What kind of seafood and where would you go? If you were I need seafood or shellfish right now. And I have a limited budget.
Right now. Okay. So always get wild caught. Mm-hmm. Always. Because the farm raised just has a bunch of stuff in it you don't even want to consume. It's not worth it. So keeping that in mind, it's, depends on the cut of fish. If you're getting like, wild caught salmon, it's going to be expensive. So search out the deals for sure. Around Easter time, before Easter with Lent, a lot of seafood was on sale because a lot of people don't eat meat for that 40-day period of time. So you could stock up on it then and freeze it. Seafood freezes really well. And then, of course, like around New Year's, you're going to be able to find crab for pretty cheap. And crab legs do freeze well. So, I don't know. King crab has been an issue, though, just with the big die-off. There was the ocean is too hot and the king crab is all dying. So that's why we couldn't really find it this year. But yeah, that's kind of what I do there. But canned fish are great deals. And, sardines, a lot of people were like, ugh, sardines, but man, they have a lot of nutrition, a lot of bang for your buck. And you can get a really, really good deal at Costco, a 6-pack for, I think, $12 of the Season brand. And they have some of the Wild Planet, which are whole sardines for, I think it's like $10 for a 6-pack. Wow. So you can get a lot of nutrition from canned fish.
When I was in Portugal, there was an entire store dedicated to sardines. Canned sardine. I mean, I think it's a big thing in Portugal, but it made me want to buy. I don't actually think I've ever tried to just eat sardines out of a can, and I didn't start there.
I can tell you, I did not.
But the cans were so beautiful, and the store was so beautiful, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna eat sardines now.
This is beautiful.
I didn't, but they were influencing me.
Oh, I remember. I have one more question for you. I watched in one of your videos that you had a tip of going to a grocery store in the early morning for deals. Is that still applicable? And is there like a certain day of the week that you found better deals?
It's a really good question. So the meat manager at whatever grocery store you're at, if the meat needs to be sold by that day, they're doing those markdowns first thing in the morning, 6, 7 a.m., because they want to get that stuff out the door and make some money. Now, before the past couple of years, a few years ago, I would see 50% off discounts. Now at my local Jewel, I'm seeing just 30% off. So that's changed, but I still am finding really, really sweet deals. Now, down here in Florida at Publix, I have not seen any meat discounts. It's crazy. So we actually froze a bunch of meat. We drove down and brought it with us. Mm-hmm. But I would say if you talk to your meat manager, ask them, when do you do your markdowns? And they'll tell you, because they want to get that out the door. So just communicate with your meat manager. You can also, I do a big grocery shop once a month, but I also visit my local grocery store a couple times a week, maybe to pick up some bacon or some milk for my boys or something like that. And I'll just do a quick check and I'll look at the dates like, oh, okay, these chicken, it needs to be sold by this day. That's in a couple of days. I'll come back and see if there's any discounted. So yeah, you're at the store a little bit more, but you're really cued into what's going on there and you can kind of see the rhythm of things. And then you can find some really good deals.
That's a good tip, asking the meat manager when the markdowns happen.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, Jenny, if people want more from you, where can they find that?
Sure. I'm on YouTube. Jenny Mitich is my handle. I'm also on Instagram. That's Mama Mitich. And my podcast is Meat Matters. That's also on YouTube, but all of your podcasting platforms that it's available.
Wherever you're listening to this. Thank you so much, Jenny. And I'm excited to eat some meat.
So get the meat sweats.
Me too.
You got that in again.
I did, yeah.
That's the second time this week she said meat sweats.
Well, I have some takeaways. And that's always my metric for if the interview was good or not. Granted, there hasn't ever been an interview that we haven't aired. So they've all been good in my opinion. But I love it when I can walk away with some takeaways. Like I said in the podcast, I had no idea about the Select, Choice, Prime.
And she said, actually, once we stopped recording, that very rarely will they have Select out. And I just assumed Choice was the bottom of the barrel and Prime was the only other option. But now knowing that there are 3 options and Choice is actually the middle of the road, I can feel safer making that choice now.
Yeah. asking your meat manager for discounts, making some of your own broth. That has always felt so clouded for me, like unattainable. But she made it sound so simple that maybe I'll try it.
And we have said in the weekly money move, one of the money moves is tracking your food for a few days, figuring out, okay, how many calories am I putting into my body and what are the nutrients in those foods that I'm putting in my body, so we can make sure that we're getting the right nutrients to fuel ourselves. And so I think it's important to also kind of know what Jenny was talking about with the fat to protein ratio. So like someone like me, I like less fat. And so my desire for fat content is lower. And so now I can kind of know, like, I mean, if I want to splurge, I can do a New York strip. But most of the time, I maybe buy steak once a month.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Same, yeah.
And I feel more confident in that now. So it's important to know that we're spending money in the right places when it comes to buying food, regardless of the diet lifestyle that you are following.
Finding your radical middle, leaning into quality over quantity. It works across the board. And you know what else is working? All of you loving our book and leaving us such kind reviews.
What a
like
great
this
segue.
one from Sabrina Pisciata, 5 stars, says, what an easy and refreshing read. As someone who has been trying to increase their financial literacy over the past couple of months, this was a great supplement to the journey. However, this book is a great starting point for those who haven't and are interested in starting the journey, I assume. Thank you so much, Sabrina.
I started. However, this book is a great starting point for those who haven't and are interested.
Oh, well. I only write books. I don't read them. Sorry, guys.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, we would love if you would leave a rating and review on Spotify. And if you have read the book, we would so appreciate if you would leave a rating and review on Amazon. It's where people go to determine if a book is worth reading, even if they're not going to purchase it from Amazon. So even if you didn't purchase it from Amazon, we would still greatly appreciate a rating and review there. And if you haven't read it, buywhatyoulovebook.com. There are several options for ordering the book. Bookshop.org is our preferred vendor. And there are even instructions at the bottom on how to request it at your library if your library doesn't already have a copy.
See you next time.
Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Sirianni.
I want sushi now.
We have to record another episode before we get sushi.
Okay, but
we had already planned for it.
Yeah.
We did plan for it today.
It's in the plan. It's in the business plan.
It just happened to be that today is also the day I woke up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
But so that's just a happy accident.
When she talked about the tuna tartare salad, or am I mixing things? I don't know. I blacked out when she was talking about something that sounded so good to me.
Like an ahi tuna salad, maybe? Or no,
yeah,
like
she used other words to describe
like a
it.
ceviche.
But what I
describing
pictured,
it almost.
Yeah, was like tuna tartare in a salad with like a spicy mayo on it. That sounded
so yeah. Good. I blacked out at spicy mayo. That's where she lost me. I was just
she didn't lose me. She wrangled me, but I still blacked out.
I left the episode and went to tuna and spicy mayo.
Oh, I wonder if they have that at this place next door.
They have a delicious spicy tuna and a delicious spicy mayo.
Oh, so. You're going to make me record more before I get it?
I am.
But I can't stop thinking about it.
I'm just a girl.
How am I going to be able to record a Sunday reset when I can't stop thinking about tuna?
Oh, girl, we got a Sunday reset and another podcast episode.
Nuh-uh. Yeah. Oh, that's right.
I'm
gonna have to do a snack. I'm gonna go.
We will do a snack. I'm gonna do a snack of caffeine because that's my diet.
Looking to save even more money on your phone bill? How does free sound? Helium Mobile is offering the first free phone plan. That's right, free phone service. Seriously, no bill, no contract, just free.
It's not just some limited time deal. You get nationwide 5G coverage with 3 gigabytes of data, 300 texts, and 100 minutes of calls. If you need more data, you can upgrade to their other plans. Plus, you're supporting a community-built network that's growing every day to keep you seamlessly connected wherever you go.
When we first heard about Helium Mobile, we couldn't wait to share it with all our Frugal listeners who are looking to budget smarter when it comes to everyday necessities without sacrificing quality.
So if you're in the market to cut that monthly phone bill, like really cut it, Helium Mobile is where it's at. Download the Helium Mobile app today and use the code FRUGAL to get your free plan today.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
In a world of economic uncertainty and workplace transformation, learn to lead by example from visionary C-suite executives like Shannon Schuyler of PwC and Will Pearson of iHeartMedia.
The good teacher explains, the great teacher inspires.
Don't always leave your team to do the work. That's been the most important part of how to lead by example.
Listen to Leading by Example, Executives Making an Impact on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is an iHeart podcast.